Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. Today our topic is continuation of the previous topic that we discussed in two sermons. That is the fulfilling paramis. So if I recap or remind what we have discussed so far in brief, we define what parami is. Parami is the qualities that we are required to fulfill in order to reach the nirvana or nibbana, or in other words, the qualifications that we need in order to attain the Maggavihari Thera, or path, wisdom associated with path, so we'll be able to reach nibbana. And we also define everything that is required to attain the Maggavihari or nibbana. Every quality that we need to develop in order to attain that is called parami. It also includes bhavana. It also includes meditation. Even vipassana meditation is included there. So when we only develop these qualities, we'll be able to reach that level of attainment. Then in the second lecture, we discussed about what sort of a mindset that we should have in order to fulfill parami. What kind of a attitude that we should develop. And there are three types of attainments, that is to become a Samma Sambuddha, become a Pacceka Buddha, and to become a Arahant. And what sort of attitudes that we have to develop, what sort of a mindset that we have to have in order to reach all these three stages. A person who wishes to be a Samma Sambuddha has to develop paramis not only for his own liberation but also to liberate other beings from samsara, liberate the beings as much as possible from samsara. Then a person who wishes to be a Pacceka Buddha is doing that, seeing the dangers of remaining or lingering in samsara, waiting for a Samma Sambuddha to appear. So if someone has the capacity to liberate himself by himself, like without the help of another, that would quicken his attainment. So ones who want to get liberated from samsara quickly wish to become Pacceka Buddhas. So ones who want to become an Arahant, to liberate ordinarily in a way, wishes to get rid of samsara as quick as possible, and he developed the qualities, and he has the aspiration that one day he will liberate himself with the help of a Samma Sambuddha. And among the Arahants there are some variations, like some would aspire to become chief disciples, like Sariputta and Moggallana. Some would like to become great disciples like Mahakassapa, Anuruddha and so forth, and some would like to attain as a normal Arahant. So it depends on the person's desire. And some also have a desire to attain Nibbana under a Buddha, like seeing the Buddha. That's also a special wish. So, but all of them has the underlying desire is to get rid of samsara with the help of a Buddha. Then today my talk would be about contemplation about parami. In Pali we call parami Paccavekkana. Paccavekkana, I think most of you have heard about it. Paccavekkana, reflecting on parami. Paccavekkana is necessary for parami because sometimes our mind retreats from fulfilling parami and it starts to enjoy the samsara or to retain in samsara and forget the practice, to have some leisure time and to go with the flow of the samsara. So that is a setback in our path towards liberation. So when such mindsets happen, such downfalls happens, when our practice is going down, it's necessary that we contemplate wisely contemplate, and lift our mind back to the track. So contemplation about parami is very vital. You can call this yoniso manasikara as well, the wise attention towards parami. So each and every parami, we should have a sort of a contemplation. So we'll be able to uplift ourselves back to the track. So it's very vital to have at least some sort of an idea how should we contemplate regarding each and every parami. Contemplation differs according to the parami, 10 paramis. So that would be the topic today. So this contemplation is very important to any person who is practicing. At the same time, for a person who is wishing to be a Samma Sambuddha, this is very vital, because he is a person who has to fulfill parami to a very high level, unimaginable level. He has to fulfill the paramis. So and also ones who want to be a Pacceka Buddhas also need to fulfill paramis daily, right, for a greater level. Even Savakas need to do that. So therefore this contemplation is very vital, is very important. So whenever we see that, at the same time we should also keep in mind, for some beings it is not possible to fulfill all 10 paramis in one life. For some, there are ways that we can say that by just doing meditation, by just doing certain type of wholesome activities, we may fulfill all 10 at the same time. Yes, there are such ways of counting paramis. But if you look into the ordinary level, for example, in some occasions, when fulfilling a certain parami, Bodhisattva was unable to fulfill another parami. For example, while he is practicing dana, while he is practicing, for instance, metta, and also helping others, for instance, supporting his family, supporting his country, he was not able to fulfill upekka in a very high level. So therefore, it's not possible to develop all 10 paramis at the same time in a very high level. But we also should need to know that, but while meditating, while doing some wholesome activities, there are ways that we can consider that all 10 paramis grow to a certain level, but not into a very higher level. In order to develop the paramis to a higher level, we need to focus on that particular parami for some time and develop it. Right? So it differs, especially for a person who is wishing to be a Samma Sambuddha. Sometimes they do completely sacrifice one life or many lives to fulfill certain paramis. So therefore, that also we should keep in mind, and this contemplation is applicable personally. It is you who has to decide what sort of paramis I should focus at this level of the life, during these periods, and then try to develop. For now, for example, now we move into the first part. I think most of you should know the 10 paramis first, right? It's something that we have to keep in mind, actually in memory. First is dana, charity. Second is sila. Sila is practicing sila, virtue. Third is nekkhamma. Fourth is panya, wisdom. Nekkhamma is renunciation, panya is wisdom. Fifth is virya. Sixth is kanti. Kanti is patience, virya is effort. Seventh is satcha. Satcha is truthfulness and also keeping the promises. Aditthana is determination. Metta is loving kindness. Upekka is equanimity. So these are the 10 paramis. First we should know this, and I invite you to keep them in memory. Dana, sila, nekkhamma, panya, virya, kanti, satcha, aditthana, metta and upekka. So as a Buddhist, these are 10 things that we also need to keep in mind always. Right. So now these are 10. Now we'll focus on dana first, because dana is the foundation of all paramis. So when sometimes our mind retreats from dana for few reasons. Sometimes we may feel, these contemplations may not be applicable for everyone at every time. So you are the one who should decide how should I apply this and what type of paramis I should focus in during these periods. That's completely personal, and that should not be generalized, right? So therefore, sometimes our mind retreats from dana mainly because of attachment towards the wealth, because we like to gain a lot of wealth and to own it, to have it for us. It's obvious that lay people should have some wealth, and monks also should have some requisites with them. Requisites means their own robes and all these stuff has to be there, otherwise you cannot live a life. So But time to time, we need to be able to give up such things for the benefit of others. So sometimes when we are supposed to give dana, or when a thought arises in us, or someone who is in need, we find someone who is in need, sometimes we may feel a bit reluctant towards dana. And also especially if someone is asking for something, at that time we may feel some sort of unpleasantness towards the person who is asking. So at that time, reluctantness or the resistment or the anger, the disliking towards the person who is asking. So these are real obstacles for dana. So how do we overcome this? Right. So these are the one of the biggest two obstacles one has. Attachment towards the wealth or the things that we have, and disliking towards the ones who are receiving, ones who are in need. Now, in order to get rid of the attachment towards things, what we have to, one of the best ways to contemplate is think about the achievements that we are going to get by giving through this dana. For instance, we sometimes spend money for education in order to get a degree, sometimes to go to a foreign country and get a degree or study in a university. Sometimes a huge amount of money is spent. And you cannot now, we are getting a degree. Degree is not something, there is no such a great value in a degree in terms of, you cannot sell a degree. It's not like something like money. Its value is not felt or not labeled. A university would not give you a degree like $1,100 degree, this is for you. No. You have to spend this much of money and you are getting a degree. But the degree, we know, by earning a degree, we'll be able to achieve lots of benefits in life. We'll be able to get a proper occupation, we'll be respected in the society, we'll be given the due respect by the people, and we'll have our confidence about ourselves, and we'll know about a certain department of life, of knowledge. So lots of benefits are there through a degree. So that's why we fearlessly or without any hesitation, we spend money in order to earn a degree. So why is that? We know that just keeping the money for ourselves, yes, surely we'll be able to enjoy it and get some fun or whatever out of it. But we know the benefits that we get through a degree is far more superior than having this money or spending it. That's why we are able to throw this money away for the sake of a degree. So now think about what we are getting through giving this dana. According to the teachings, later on in each and every PＡRAMީ, I will explain how each and every PARAMÍ is supportive for the attainment. There's a different explanation. But we know that for the time being, we'll just roughly understand that the dana is helping us to become a Buddha or a Pacceka Buddha or a Arahant. That means to attain the Nirvana. By attaining Nirvana, we are getting rid of all the deaths in samsara, births in samsara, aging in samsara, separation from beloved ones, association with the disliked ones. So all this entire realm of suffering will be no more if we attain Nirvana. So Nirvana is a priceless or is fully unmatched to what we are giving. In order to get a normal degree, we have to spend some money, but think about getting a degree from Harvard University, for example, or the best university in the world, MIT, the American universities. So for that, you have to surely spend thousands of dollars. But we know that if you have such a recognition from a very high university, the benefits are matchless. So in order to attain the Nirvana, the greatest reality in existence, which is the highest goal that can be achieved. So the thing that I am protecting is nothing. Surely in order to get a very high degree, you have to spend a lot of money. So likewise, in order to attain this Nirvana, we have to make sacrifices. So that's how a Bodhisattva thinks. For example, think about him sacrificing his children, wives. In one Jataka, in the Charya Pitaka, he clearly mentions, It's not that I didn't like Yashodhara. It's not that I didn't like Rahula. Or in that life, Mandi and Krishna, Jina and Jalia. It's not because I didn't like them. But I liked the omniscience. I liked the attainment, Nibbana, the Buddhahood, much greater than these. So I knew without these sacrifices, I would never be able to reach that. So when we contemplate that, the benefits that we are getting by the attainment of Nibbana, the nature of Nirvana, we'll be able to get rid of this lobha which sticks us to certain objects. So that is one way to get rid of the attachment towards things that prevents us from giving dana. So now another way to contemplation is, now these things that we possess are surely going to destroy one day. There's no doubt about that. Either we die before it or it get destroyed before we die. So there's no way that we can keep it forever. So by giving dana, what we do is we accumulate a great merit for the samsara. And finally, and we are doing it with the aspiration towards Nibbana, surely this would help us to attain Nibbana. And Buddha has clearly mentioned that. So it's like now when a house is burning, only the things that are put out would be of our benefit. The ones remain in the house will burn out. So likewise, things that we keep for ourselves, we are surely going to lose them with death. But if something is given to someone and accumulated a great merit, that merit is going to help us throughout the samsara. So the Buddha's advice is, Adittasmin agarasmin yanni harati bhajanang I forgot the verse actually fully. Adittasmin agarasmin yanni harati bhajanang. Adittasma agarasma yanni harati bhajanang. One who takes away something from a burning house, that will be for his benefit, not the ones who are in the things that are in the house. So likewise, this entire life is burning with jati jara marana, and it's heading towards a death, a destruction. That's obvious to us. We are just enjoying throughout this short period of life. So only the things that are given are going to remain with us as a karmic power. So that's karma is going to help us throughout the samsara and also finally attain nirvana. So therefore, before these things get destroyed, either with my death or its destruction, why I'm not accumulating something that would last for a longer period? It's not that our karma is going to give us all the pleasures throughout the samsara. It's also an impermanent force. It means it has a limited force. It's going to end one day, capacity, and eventually it will lead to a permanent liberation. So thinking in this way also, one would be able to get rid of the attachment towards the things that we tend to keep. So this is the gatha I was able to find out in the Sangyutta Nikaya Saghata Vagga Pali. The sutta is Aditta Sutta. Aditta Sutta. Adittasmin agarasmin yang harati bhajanang tantassa hoti attahaya nochayantatta dahati. So one who takes out certain things from a burning house, that thing would be for his benefit, not the things that are burning inside the house. Evang adittako loko jaraya maranena cha nihare teva danena dinnang hoti sunihitang. So likewise, the entire world, entire life is burning with jara and marana. So the ones who is wise would take them out and take these things out of this burning house of life and gives it to the ones who are in need, and that will be his property. That will be his, that is something that is taken out from the house. So that will be his. So taking out is giving dana. Taking out from the house of burning house is giving dana. Dinnan sukha palang hoti na dinnang hoti tantataha chora haranti rajanu aggi dahati nasati. So if we give something, this is applicable for monks even. It's not only for lay people. Sometimes we do get very valuable requisites. So sometimes we tend to keep it for ourselves, but sometimes we may be able to give it to some monks. Sometimes monks have decided, oh, I want to keep this with me. But if we are able to give it to some other monk, but monks cannot give it to lay people, there is a rule for that. It's called Kuladusana Sikkapada. We are not able to give to lay people as we like. Only to our parents we can give, and some other kappiyas and all. So even to monks can perform dana. So if we are giving something to someone, so dinnan sukha palang hoti, that is going to give lots of benefits. Na dinnang hoti tanta, na adinnang hoti. So the one that is not given is not going to give us such benefits. Chora haranti rajanu aggi dahati nasati. So it may be sometimes it can be taken by kings, confiscated, right? So then sometimes it's burnt, taken away by thieves. Atta antena jahati sarirans sapariggahang etadanyaya medhavi bhunjate cha dadeta cha. So even it is not destroyed while we are living, surely we are going to give up this with our death. We are not going to carry our all money and everything to the next life, right? So etadanyaya medhavi, one who is wise, having known this, bhunjeta cha dadeta cha. He enjoys his wealth, he enjoys it, he gives it to his children, he secures them. At the same time, dadeta cha, he gives dana as well. He's not just enjoying everything for himself. Dattva cha bhutva cha yatanu bhavang anindito saggamupeti dana. So having given and having enjoyed for yourself and having given, he or she attains the sagga. And also as a parami, if you fulfill it parami, it will also leads to the nibbana. So when you contemplate like this, it also helps you to get rid of the attachment towards the things. So I have given you two types of contemplations. Think about the value of nibbana that you are getting through this dana parami, and also think about the a wise contemplation. If this is not given, surely we are going to lose it one day, or it's going to get destroyed. Before that, I'm accumulating some merits for the samsara and also helps to attain nirvana. So when you contemplate like that, the mind starts to like this fulfilled in order to fulfill this parami. So now dana is a thing that leads you to nirvana and also helps you to attain benefits in samsara. So now think, if someone is asking, begging you, think about a beggar when you are driving and someone comes in the traffic, someone comes and asks for something. Right? In Indonesia, there are some beggars who have come and asked, right? So when you see such a person, so now how should we think? Because of this giving, I'm going to get a nirvana one day, and also I'm accumulating a lot of merit for the samsara. So the person who is, people don't feel of giving all the time. We are just living our life. That's why Buddha said, so you have to enjoy your life. Obviously, lay people should have enjoyment. But we don't feel like giving all the time. But suddenly someone comes and asks for it. So he or she is in need of that. So now he is creating an opportunity. The person who is asking is creating an opportunity that would help me to attain nirvana one day, and also that would help me to gain a lot of benefits one day. So the ones who is asking is doing a great help, because I was just driving my car or involved in some other worldly activity. That time someone is asking and he is helping me to attain my liberation. So in that sense, I should be able to see the person as a helper, not as someone who is disturbing me. So that's how a bodhisattva thinks. He thinks, oh, the ones who are asking are doing a great help to me. If people don't ask, how can I give? For example, in Deva world, you cannot perform dana. Why is that? Because Deva world beings have their merits, they have their own luxuries. The ones who have luxuries are not welcoming dana. Now think about, if you are well afforded, if you have a lot of money, if you can live your life, someone comes and suddenly starts to give you money, would you accept it? No, most of us would not do that. We would feel like shame to accept such money. Why? I have my money, I can live myself, I don't need your help. That would be the answer of many people, right? Ones who are rich. So likewise in Deva world, Devas cannot perform dana because every Deva has something. So therefore, it's very difficult to perform dana in the Deva world. So only it can be done in the human world. And imagine if everyone was well afforded, you will not be able to do this dana. So therefore, the ones who are begging are doing a great benefit to me. I'm not have that desire to give. Now, for example, if you go and give money to your neighbors, most of the cases, they would say, no, I don't need that. They would reject it. So ones who are asking for it is like they are coming to do a help to me. That's how the attitude should change. That's the Bodhisattva's way of thinking. So his way of thinking is much more advanced. Now, the beggars are coming and asking for some money, but in his case, some come and ask for a eye. E-Y-E-I. Someone come and ask for flesh. They are hungry. They have nothing to eat. Some demons come and ask for some blood. And someone come and ask for the children or the wife. So these are very difficult things to give, right? So in that case, even Bodhisattva has to have a courage to face such askings. Surely one would feel angry if someone comes and asks for the wife, right? But for the Bodhisattva, he is not giving wife to anyone like, normally I have to mention Bodhisattvas when he gives the wife and children, he first asks the consent. Only if the children and wife are agreed he is giving, otherwise he doesn't give by force. It's against the human qualities, right? He always gives to ones who are, if the children and wife is willing to do that, go for that. And also not to the ones who are going to kill them. No. So he's making a great sacrifice. So in such cases, Bodhisattva thinks not everyone is coming and asks for such valuable objects. So he's doing me a great favor only by sacrificing my limbs, body parts and children and wife, I'll be able to one day attain the nirvana. So that's what the Vesantara thought. That's the way the Vesantara thought. So a person who is designed to be a Pacheka Buddha or a Samma Sambuddha should have this attitude. Otherwise, if he is getting angry for the ones who are asking, he will never be able to achieve such tasks. One more thing is, in order to be a Pacheka Buddha, someone has to sacrifice limbs. Samma Sambuddha sacrificing limbs, sacrificing the family members, and also sacrificing means giving them and their life. So, not well-behaved people would ask for such things. They would not need such things. For example, if someone gives you some flesh, you are not going to accept that. You are not going to eat that. That's not our nature. Who is in need of flesh? A demon or a person who is cannibalizing, a person of a tribe who is eating human flesh, or animal. Not very highly developed people would ask for this. So it's not easy to give these limbs. It's not easy to give these limbs, such sacrifices. So Bodhisattvas are very happy if someone comes and asks for that. And he also doesn't give it, if someone is not in need of, he is not going to give that. That's another thing. Same thing like if we are not going to give our requisites to someone who is not in need, right? So likewise, we should have an attitude towards liking the person who is asking. It's a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing. But we have to always think the ones who are asking are doing a favor to me. Because of his asking, I'll be able to perform the dana and I'll be able to get the pleasures in samsara and one day attain nirvana. So that is another way of contemplating of dana parami. Right. So then also finally, there can be some who are wishing to be a Samma Sambuddha or a Pacheka Buddha. In order to sacrifice the limbs, for example, the way of their contemplating is, surely these limbs, my body parts, are going to die one day and will be soiled to the earth, or it will be burnt. So surely it's going to end and it's going to get weakened and older and ugly and so forth. So why shouldn't I, which is something surely going to end one day, why shouldn't I develop a great merit by offering them before they die? So that sort of contemplation arises in there. And there's a very special type of a sacrifice done by Bodhisattvas. I may elaborate this in the Dana Parami lecture, talk. That is becoming a slave. Becoming a slave. which is not not an easy dana. Becoming a slave means complete down. Slavery is abolished in the world, which is a good thing, which has been abolishing is very good. But thing is, now olden days there were a group of people who were considered as slaves. They didn't have a freedom. They didn't have their own. They didn't have freedom. They didn't have their own rights. It's a hell of a life actually. In India also there were. Now you may have heard about the word dasa. Dasa is a slave. Dasa is a slave. So sometimes on those days, some people come and ask for a slave. He needs slave because slave needs to work for him, and he's completely becomes the property of the owner. There are many lives in which the Bodhisattva has become a slave of others, which is a very difficult thing to. Even he has abandoned his kingship and become slaves. So this is something unimaginable for people like us. Now think of to be a free man. It's something sort of a very auspicious or blessed thing. We all consider that we all are free men or free women and free women. So becoming a slave means you are giving your ownership to someone. He decides how you live and what sort of food you get and everything. He can make rules and so. So in some ages, slave owners could kill the slaves, which is a very bad thing, which was a very bad thing. And so in some lives, the Bodhisattva has become a slave. Why is that? What was his contemplation? We are all slaves of tanha. We are all slaves of kilesas. And one day, I want to understand this truth and release all the many beings from the slavery of defilements. In order for that, I become a slave of someone else and sacrifice my life to that person. It's a merit. I'm helping him. I'm helping his occupation. I'm helping his gardening and all this his work. I give up my freedom. Why is that? I'll be able to free all the beings, including myself, one day from the slavery of the defilements. But think about this now. Sometimes we may not feel like, why do he need to do that? Because Dhamma is there. But think, the Bodhisattva is the one who is finding this Dhamma. For us, it seems okay. Now the path is there. We just walk on this and get liberated. But for the Bodhisattva, it's not the case. He has to find it by himself. He's not depending on a Buddha. He's appearing in a time that no one has ever understood the truth. There's no one in the world who knows this truth, knows the path. He's the one who is finding it by himself. So therefore, he has to make lots of sacrifices that others would not even imagine. Slavery of defilements is the biggest problem for a Bodhisattva. Not about himself, but of others. So he has to find a way to remove these defilements. He is walking on a path where there is no light. For us, the Buddha has shed the light. So we are just walking on this. That's why I'm able to give this Dhamma talk bravely, knowing this Dhamma, learning this Dhamma. But for a Bodhisattva, there's no forerunner. He himself is running forward. So for him, he has to find this path. So therefore, in some lives, he becomes slaves of others with the intention of removing all of us, or many of us, one day from the slavery of defilement. So it's a very hard thing to do. I shall elaborate this in Dana Parami later on. So then we move on to the second type of Parami, Sila Parami. I'll not be able to cover all Paramis today, where time is running. So I'll cover much as possible. So Sila Parami, sometimes our mind is retreating and we may feel a bit relaxed about our Sila. So at that time, we have to have wise contemplation in order to bring our mind back to the practice. So what you have to consider? We are wearing clothes. Some are wearing very nice clothes. But the actual cloth that covers our nakedness of bad behavior is the Sila. If there is no Sila, we are not well civilized. In the world, sometimes some Sikkapadas may not be very highly respected or highly concerned. But if you consider with the noble beings, all the 5 precepts are very vital. So only if we have these 5 precepts, at least these 5 precepts, then we can be called some civilized human beings. And this sila, this cloth of sila, is more adorable or more attractive than any other valuable costume in the world. Any other valuable costume. Think about a person who is a robber, who loots public money. Think about a very high profile. He may have the best costume in the world, but do we attract, if we know his behavior, are we attracted to him? No. We know even though he wears nicely because we don't like his character. The nature of the character cannot be covered by clothes. The real attraction, the real cloth of a character is the sila. So if someone has sila, he is more attractive than any other person. So that's why it's mentioned in Visuddhimagga, the prince is the son of the king, and who is supposed to be the king. Prince is mostly young, at his young age, handsome age. He's wearing all the ornaments, jewelry, and the prince's clothes, all the bands on the forehead, and bangles and all these, in the shoulders, forearm, and everything. He's very attractive. Women are attracted to him, people like to look at him, very good, very well, nicely built. But in terms of noble Vinaya, a monk who is having a very high virtue, practicing Dutanga and wearing the 3 robes, is more respected by the world than a prince. Even the prince who knows the value of a monk would pay respect to the monk. Monks' robes are not attractive, it's just a piece of cloth. It doesn't have any design, it's just cut and paste. It's not a very attractive color even. So, but why people are more respecting a monk than a prince? It's not because of the clothes, it's not because of the beauty. Monks are mostly not attractive because they shave their heads and they are not beautifying themselves. They don't wear any ornaments like jewelry, and no concern about their appearance. So in that sense, but still people are respecting a monk. Why is that? What's the reason? It is the sila. It is the behavior. So according to our Dhamma, there is no cloth or costume that is much beautiful, more beautiful than the sila. So when you consider like that, if we are relaxing ourselves in sila, you would feel, oh, it's like I'm removing my old clothes. I'm just exposing my bad behavior to the world. So it's not good. So I have to put on my clothes back. Without those clothes, a naked person would not be able to enter the city of Nibbana. Please keep this in mind. You have to wear the clothes of sila if you are going to enter this Nibbana city. Just a metaphor. There are some clubs in the world that you have to wear some in a certain way to enter there. You have to have a certain appearance. The ones who are in the gate would let you in only if they are satisfied with you. And some hotels, you cannot just go into some hotels barefoot. It will be really odd. They'll try a way to take you away. If they know that this is not a well-afforded man or a poor person, if they get to know that, they'll find out one way or another to send you away. Officially, lawfully, they'll not be able to do that, but they'll find a way. So such places are prohibited to some people. Why? They are not up to that level. Think about Nibbana as a city, a hotel. You are denied the entrance unless you have this cloth of sila. So therefore, when we are lacking the sila aspect, we have to contemplate in order to attain this Nibbana, in order to become, even in this life, to become a better person, one who is even respected by the Buddha, I have to wear this Sila clothes. So when you contemplate like that, Sila Pārāmī, the desire to fulfill Sila increases. Okay, so then another way to contemplate about Sila is, Sila is a certain perfume. We do have perfume, we do apply perfumes, right, as lay people. But that perfume lasts for a certain period. When the scent is gone, you cannot be always smell good because of applying perfume for one day. Keep on applying it. And also perfume flows, the smell goes with the wind, not against the wind. But Sila, if you have a Sila, your smell of Sila means the reputation. When we have a pleasant smell in our body, people are attracted to us. If you have a fuming, a very bad smell, people goes away from us. That's obvious from certain elements, and from certain people we don't like to associate if their bodies are ill-smelling. So it means smell makes someone smell attracts the beings. A Sila is such a quality that attracts many beings, regardless of the body smell of a person. A person with a very high virtue, people like to associate such a person. So therefore, the smell of Sila Gandha we call, Pativatang Chavayati. It goes against the wind, it goes into all directions, even up and down. Even Devas would know when someone is very highly virtuous. Once the Sakka was going to enjoy, and he just suddenly stepped down from his vehicle and paid respect. Then Matali asked, whom you are respecting? Everyone is respecting you. Why you are respecting someone to whom you are respecting? So I am respecting for two types of people. One, some monks who have restrained themselves, had restrained faculties, who are practicing Sila well. The next, the householders who are practicing Sila and taking care of their family properly. I do respect both monks and lay people. So now Sila is a smell. It's not a smell that is felt to the nose. It is a smell that is felt to our mind, others' mind. So we become very attractive to others. People start to respect us. Attractiveness is not in the sense of arousing lust or lobha. It's arousing respect. And people start to trust us. People start to associate us, believe in us. So Sila is such a wonderful smell or a perfume. So why not I apply this to myself? So when you contemplate like that, it will be also help us to fulfill the Pārāmī. In terms of Nibbana, the hotel of Nibbana is not going to accept you if you have not applied this perfume of Sila. So if you think like that, then you'll be able to get into Sila. Observe Sikkhapadas seriously. And Sila is like a ladder to climb onto Sagga. Sagga is heavens, and also is a gate to the city of Nibbana. So when you contemplate like that, find out the importance of Sila. And Sila is necessary for Samadhi. Samadhi is necessary for Panya, Vipassana, and for the attainment. So therefore, Sila has to be our basic foundation in all our practice, spiritual practice. The foundation of spiritual practice is like it grows from Sila. Dana is the basic foundation quality, that the mindset that we have to have, giving up. Only when we are giving up, we will be able to practice Sila. Sila is also a giving up. With Dana, we give up the attachment towards the objects. Sila, we are giving the attachment towards our bad habits. Right? It's also a giving up. And this Sila becomes a foundation for Samadhi and Panya to grow. So, if no Sila, if there is no Sila, there is no expectation of Samadhi, Panya, or attainment. So, therefore, Sila is the ladder or the staircase in order to climb to the Sagga. the divine realms, and then it's the gate into the city of Nibbana, and it is the foundation for our all spiritual qualities. So therefore, one has to focus very much in order to fulfill Sila. So when you contemplate like this, the Sila Parami will be able to incline towards the Sila Parami. Right. So that would be the lecture today, because we need to give some time for the questions, and also it's so therefore today I focused on reflection of Parami. That I'll take this talk to the next session as well, how to contemplate regarding the remaining paramis, Nikkamma, Viriya, Panya, and so forth. So today we focused on how to reflect on developing Dana Parami and Sila Parami. Few contemplations. For the Dana, how to contemplate in order to get rid of your attachment towards the stuff, towards the things. Think about the value of Nibbana that you are getting by it, and think about the natural law of impermanence, that surely we are going to lose this stuff one day. So before that, we are going to accumulate a great merit for the samsara and to attain Nibbana as well. And think about the ones who are asking as helpers, who are helping us to walk on the path towards Nibbana. So there are many other ways of contemplating, but these are very useful contemplations. Sila, think Sila as a cloth that helps you to make your character very nice, and think Sila as a perfume that you need to apply in your body, in yourself. Think Sila as a ladder towards Nibbana, the Sagga, the divine realms, and a gateway to the Nibbana, and also it's a foundation for all, the ground for all the spiritual qualities. So when you keep on thinking like this, positively again and again, automatically your mind starts to incline towards paramis. So this contemplation, white contemplation, is very, very important. So our sasana, the growth in our sasana depends mainly on these two. Contemplating the benefits and contemplating the disadvantages. Disadvantages of not practicing properly, advantages or benefits of practicing. So when you keep on contemplating like that, urge, intention would naturally come up. So therefore, it's very important that we do these reflections, not only for paramis, for whatever activity we do. Even we are doing a certain occupation, if the job is very important, you have to see the benefits of doing it and not doing, the disadvantages of not doing that, right? In studies even. For example, if you are stuck in a, if you have to study in a foreign country, and if you are missing your parents, if you are homesick, what is the way? The parents would say, think about the future, think about the benefits, think about the disadvantages if you come without finishing the degree. Yes, when you keep on contemplating, you happen to stay there, right? The same thing in the practice. Sometimes we feel, how do I get the urge? I'm not very energetic. It's because we have not seen the dangers very clearly. It's because we haven't seen the benefits very clearly. Then sometimes we do see, but we are not interested in it. See it to a level that the interest comes. I think if we normally see that, okay, certain food are not helpful to us, so not healthy, but still we use it. We're not worried about that much. But if we know that this kind of a thing, poison, something, is very harmful, we are not going to look at that, right? So we haven't understood the disadvantages of practice very thoroughly. We haven't understood the benefits of the practice very thoroughly. So therefore, what we are supposed to do is listen to Dhamma very deeply, think about Dhamma deeply, contemplate wisely. Wise contemplation is very important. So two aspects of wise contemplation, seeing the disadvantages and seeing the advantages. So therefore, I hope this talk was useful to you, to at least to some degree. So I'll continue with the remaining reflections in the next talk. And you are allowed to ask questions. Yes, I'm done. It's for the Q&A. Yeah.
Okay. The first question is from Mitapala. Madani Bante, Bante Sinuri, about expensive degree and learning how it's so inspiring. It really helped me to perceive the logic of dana and the connection between dana and its result. Also the simile of cloth, perfume, leather, and sila is really gladdened mind through the understanding of the logic. Could Bhante please give me a similar simile to help eliminate the logic of benefit doing anapanasati, observing this mere breath? I still can get strong logic about anapanasati practice and its direct benefit because it sometimes felt like doing nothing useful, not like dana. If one has attained jhana, magga or phala through anapanasati, I can understand that. What I mean is how to understand the direct benefits of doing anapanasati for beginner, which not yet attain anything, so the mind is still like in the process and not hurrying the result.
So first of all, I should say I'm not very good at similes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Maybe it worked. Thank you for that. Happy to know that. So I would like to say, like, this kind of question comes normally when we are very I don't want to, I'm not in a judgmental way. It's like sometimes we want something, like, for instance, we want the results. We want now, for example, if I say this is your final goal and these are all very nice achievements, and we are supposed to walk a very long distance for that, do many things. If we are going to get the final result quickly, yes, we'll be very excited. The exciting mind. I think a simile for Sri Lankans would be with cricket. I would say for Indonesians it's better with football, right? So think about being a football player. You are going to play with the coach. Coach is not going to put you into a match directly. He'll ask you to do some drills, run, do some exercises, some strengthening your legs. You have to go to the gym maybe. You have to handle the ball. These are not entertaining. What we all aspire is to hit the ball into the goal net and to enjoy, and everyone is laughing, shouting, and do the Ronaldo jump and all these, right? That's what people aspire. So think Anapana is like the basic drills that we do in order to be a football player who is going to play a league match or for his country, whatever. So the real entertainment comes there. Real achievement is in Maggapala and getting rid of samsara, getting rid of defilements, and sometimes even able to have perform abhinya and all. This is the final product. For that we have to calm down our mind. For that we have to get rid of defilements. Like slowly we have to step forward. If you ask from a cricket player in Sri Lanka, best players, they would say they have how much bad drills. Drills means you have to play the shots, mirror the shots in front of a mirror alone. No one is looking at you. You are just sweating and just playing. Only when you go and play in a match and you score 50, yes, that's the time everyone starts to appreciate you. Sometimes our mind it's very excited about such things. But we have to always keep in mind such results, final goals are attained with a lot of hardship, a lot of practice, a lot of continuation, a lot of effort. I know Anapana is not a very attractive object. It's just looking at the breath. While we are supposed to look at the world news, we can watch the politics, we can watch the coronation of King Charles III, for example. All these are there, the very exciting things are there. I'm just looking at my breath. What am I doing? It's objects of question. I know one of my teachers actually once said, he felt the same while doing Anapana and he preferred the Vipassana, dry Vipassana. I'm just looking at the breath going in and up, out. So it's obvious, it's not even Kasina is okay, it's something at least very colorful. Something you are looking at an object. Maybe Asubha, it's repulsive, but still looking at the body parts and all this. But this is just, it has no color, nothing is just felt on the nose. Just going up and down is the same thing. yes, that dullness can come. I appreciate that. I acknowledge your question. So the benefits are utmost, that very great. It will subdue your defilements. It's like a rain falling onto a dusty earth. The dust will subdue. Sorry, it helps you. It helps to calm yourself down. It will help you to develop your concentration. It helps you to improve in your studies, to focus on your work, to make proper decisions. There are a lot of benefits. I'm not going to talk about the benefits. You asked for a simile, right? Talking about benefits is something, asking, sending a simile is something. So think about the football player. So the match is like Maggapala and all this. Scoring a goal in front of thousands of people. That's everyone wants. That's what one goes into football, not to do drills and all, right? He wants to play in the game. He wants to be famous. This is the desire. But you cannot just go there. No coach will put you into a game, just you went to a team and said, I just want to play. No, then you have to do some drills. You have to do the controlling. You have to run. You have to strengthen your legs. These are not entertainment. No one is looking at you even. You have to do by yourself. Even has to do it at home. And all the sweating and all the hardship, pain, we will feel, oh, is it necessary? Rather than we go and watch a football match, others playing, enjoyment is there, rather than doing this. Because I used to play cricket when I was a lay boy. The worst thing that I didn't like most is doing the drills. I just like to go and play the match. And it affected me. When I was going to senior teams, I started to fail because I was not doing my drills. So likewise, think about this level of practice in meditation, Anapana, in this way. I know there's no way that you can make it attractive. Only way, you have to meditate, keep on going, the results will come when you start to experience the bliss, when you start to experience the calmness. Then you don't need to reach the Maggapala levels. At a certain level, you start to feel the calmness. You start to feel that your mind is more focused, more relaxed. You are taking better decisions in life. You are not tempted by certain objects. You are not distracted by certain objects like others, like in the past. So you'll start to see the benefits. Then you'll start to see. Even still, the Anapana is not attractive. It's just looking at the breath. But then you see the benefit. But when you start to feel the bliss in meditation, while meditating, that will be entertaining. Right? Then you'll be able to walk forward.
The next question is also from Tapala. Dani Bante. Bante's statement in doing kusala like meditation, we can develop all 10 parami in certain level and so inspiring. Could Bante please explain how in doing Anapanasati meditation, these 10 parami can be fulfilled? How to understand it properly and Dani Bante?
Okay, so these are the, normally it says that, to be true, I didn't expect this question actually. So it is said in the Dhamma that when you are doing certain activities like meditation, you can fulfill all the 10 paramis to a certain degree. So now we are doing meditation. How do you understand dana? It's a tough one. Dana is threefold. Amisa dana, Dhamma dana, Abhaya dana. Amisa dana is giving something. When you are meditating, you are not giving anything to anyone, right? Dhamma dana, you are not talking any Dhamma to anyone. But Abhaya dana, if you are doing meditation by observing 5 precepts, because Buddha once said, I forgot the name of the sutra, all 5 precepts, observing all 5 precepts, observing all 5 precepts is 5 types of dana. 5 types of dana, because by observing the 5 precepts, like not killing, you are giving life to others, you are giving security to others, you are not giving any, because of your practicing 5 precepts, beings are not getting any fear from you. So this is sort of a abhedana. This sort of a abhedana. Therefore, when you are practicing Anapanasati, having observed the 5 precepts, you are performing a certain type of abhedana to many beings. It's not only giving life, you are not giving any fear to others. Then when you observe sila, it becomes sila parami as well. So according to Buddha, sila can be a dana in one sense. Right? So you are fulfilling dana, you are fulfilling sila. Nikkamma, getting rid of defilements, obviously. There are 5 types of nikkamma. I shall explain when it comes to the lecture about nikkamma. We call nikkammang pabbajja patamanjanang samatocha nibbanancha vipassana sabbhepi kusala dhamma nikkammanti paucchati. There are 5 types of nikkamma according to our tradition, to Theravada. Pabbajja, renunciation, becoming a monk, obviously is the very high nikkamma. Nikkammang patamanjanang, practicing samatha and attaining first jhana, you get rid of defilements, 5 hindrances. Patamanjana. Pabbajja patamanjanang nibbana. Nibbana is the relinquishing or getting rid of all the sankata. Sankata means all the conditioned realities and defilement. Vipassana. By practicing vipassana, we get rid of certain defilement. Sabbhepi kusala dhamma. All types of kusala is sort of a nikkamma. So while we are practicing anapanasati, we are developing samadhi, we are developing kusala, is obviously a nikkamma. Panya, very high wisdom arises when you are well focused on an object, because in samatha we develop a certain type of wisdom. That wisdom gives you the understanding, the benefits of samatha, benefits of getting rid of sensual pleasures. You are getting that understanding throughout the meditation. And also mind is occupied by wisdom, highly concentrated mind. Panya parami is developed. Then virya, obviously you have to have strong energy to continue in meditation for maybe to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Kanti, patience should be there. Sometimes mosquitoes may bite you, pains may appear in your body, in leg, on the backside. You have to endure that. That's kanti. Then satcha, when you have observed the precept, the musavada veramani, that also includes us. Because satcha is threefold: speaking truth, abstaining from lying, keeping the promises, and helping others with the power of your truthfulness. These are the 3 types of satcha parami, which I shall explain in the lecture about satcha parami. So here you have observed the panchasila, so you are fulfilling the satcha parami during that time as well. Kanti, satcha, aditthana, determination obviously should be there to continue the meditation, especially when you are doing it as a daily routine. Yes, there should be a lot of determination not to break the schedule. Aditthana, metta, if you have sat in the meditation having thought that I am not giving any harm to others, that metta feeling, especially if you observe the panchasila before that, the metta chitta is there because I am not harming anyone, and you can spread some metta before that. And then upekha, in your meditation, when you are getting bliss, when you are getting pain, you have to have some kind of upekha, like equanimity at that. Otherwise, if you are very excited about the practice, you are going to lose the concentration. If you are adverse towards the pains in the body, you are going to lose the concentration. There should be at least some type of upekha there. So this is a very minimum level of 10 parami fulfilling. I just cannot say that just by doing meditation you are fulfilling all the 10 paramis and getting liberated. No. So one way or another 10 paramis can be explained in such a practice. But if you are supposed to practice dana parami, you have to give certain things in order to fulfill dana parami. Sila parami, you have to practice sila during your life, not to abstaining from bad habits. Nikkamma, you have to renounce, you have to get rid of certain sensual pleasures. Panya, you have to listen to Dhamma and increase your wisdom. So it's not that just sitting for anapana you are going to fulfill all 10 parami and attain. But during a certain session, we can say a minimum level of 10 paramis can be developed as mentioned during a meditation session. So that is not to say that all 10 can be fulfilled in that way. Right? So that would be the answer.
I go to the next question.
We have beggars who may ask for.
On every thing, this question There are instances where beggars who may ask money from us, however, we could see that this person is healthy and able-bodied, who are really well capable of finding a job and earn their own income. But if we see them as the opportunity to dana and we give them some money, our action will for sure cause them to form a bad habits of keep asking money and being lazy. So in this case, how do we discern whether a dana is appropriate or not? Does the quality of dana recipient or opportunity affect the formation of our dana parami?
This is a question that has to be looked into in various angles as far as I see. I can give you a direct answer, but it can be looked in various ways in terms of socially, in terms of accumulating merits, in terms of when you think about the social contract, like how we are contributing to society and so forth. And if think about the one who is ruling the country, think about the ones who are formulating policies in the country. So likewise, this thing can be looked into various ways, and all the approaches, I would say, can be beneficial in different ways. So the direct, straightforward answer would be, if we think in this way, if the Bodhisattva had been thinking in this way, he'd never be able to fulfill dana paramis, right? For example, how can he give his children and wives, which is a controversial topic today? How could he be able to give limbs, the ones who are in, for example, someone comes in thirst and someone wants to have some blood for some reason, to drink, to quench his thirst. So obviously, we would say, try to quench your thirst with something else, right? That's not the way that he thought. Someone comes to ask him for ice. So you should not do that. You have to try to understand. You should not be asking something very valuable from someone. You have to try to live yourself according to your conditions. That would be a good advice to someone. But if the Bodhisattva had been thinking like that, he would never be able to fulfill his paramis, giving all these things that we would never ever think to give even in dreams. So therefore, if you are thinking about the utmost level of parami, the level of the receiver is not a concern at all. Not at all. That's why I mentioned in the beginning, that is the biggest problem in Deva world. Deva world, they cannot give dana because everyone is well afforded. They have everything. They have their needs, basic needs. No one is going to accept your dana. So if you think in that way, if someone is still well available, affordable, like we have a good, capable of working and earning their money, someone is asking, oh, still it's a help that you are giving me to fulfill the parami. That is the utmost level of thinking. But for example, as a parent, the child is still keep on asking. If you think about his future, we would say, no, it's time. Now you have to find your own earning. That's the benefit, that's the guidance that a parent has to give to the child. So that's why I said this certain question can be looked in various ways. A parent always doing the duties, the children's work would spoil them. And think about someone who is creating a social policy. Obviously, as you ask the question, if everyone starts to, he will get a bad habit to ask him money, and he will not be contributing to the country's economy in a positive way. So let him suffer for a while and try to find his own occupation and contribute to the society, and also get his own earning through himself. So if you look it through a social contract way, the first answer I gave is not applicable. So how about applying such a social? It's also very nice. So in that sense, in the long term, the whole country in the entire realm, not the entire realm, means like a bigger portion of people will be benefited out of that. His children, his family, Everything is going to be fine, get some benefits out of that. So, therefore, you can look into this question in various ways, and all these approaches, I would say, have benefits. But if someone is thinking in a very utmost level of practicing paramis, these things are not their concern. That's why I said sometimes the Bodhisattva became a slave and worked his thing, and worked for the other person. Right? So he would never think like he's creating a bad habit and he doesn't respect the humans, the freedom and all. No, he's just fulfilling the parami because he has a much higher goal. For example, sometimes in some practices, some sports, in some training, for example, think about karate or boxing or being in a soldier, sometimes you are getting vigorous practice. It's inhumane if you look in. Now think about the American SEAL, how he's been created. That practice is very harsh. If you give that training to an ordinary person, that is a violation of human rights, I would say. Right? But in order to create a SEAL, US SEAL, normally they spend $1 million for one SEAL, I heard. So they have to go through this vigorous practice. Only then such a person who is capable, who can match for 10, 12 other ordinary soldiers would be created. If someone wants to be a Buddha, his practice is in a different level. Someone who is a Pacceka Buddha is also in a different level than the normal Savakas. So likewise, this is a very personal type of a question. Different people may approach differently. Even a Bodhisattva, if he wants to, in some lives, when he wants to serve the entire country, he would surely say, if he is more making a policy, if he is making a system, he would say, he would ask people not to beg. He would ask people to work for themselves and earn for themselves. Because in the bigger picture, that's the way a country is developed. So he's serving the country in a different way. But in some lives, he's just individually giving dana. So what matters is your approach. What matters is your approach, how you think. Personally, according to Dhamma, I'm not in a position to give an exact answer for this type of a question. It's a very good question. It's a very broad one, deep one, should be addressed. To my understanding, this question can be answered in these various angles, and most of these angles would be beneficial in different ways.
It's said that to fulfill Dana Parami, one needs to do Dana like a turnpole which will not withhold any water inside it. The question is how to differentiate stinginess and the need to keep some basic things for ourselves to simply survive. I don't want any bad thing.
The simile is not for everyone actually. This simile was considered by the Mahabodhisattva. After he got the prophecy from the Buddha Dipankara, he contemplated how should I fulfill the paramis. So he had 10 similes for 10 paramis. The simile for Dana Parami was turning the ball upside down so that there will be no remnant of water inside, everything will be thrown away. So I would determine to give everything in my life, including external, internal, everything to whoever is needed. So that's what he has to supposed to do. In order to be a Buddha, he has to give everything, right? But for Pacceka Buddhas, they don't need to give their lives, they have to give their limbs. To be a Savaka, they have to give the external stuff. But not everyone has to give wives and children, no. So now this is a simile that the Buddha, the Bodhisattva had determined for himself. It's not that Savakas have to give such the type of dana. So then how to differentiate stinginess with the need? That's what we have to develop with common sense. Very difficult to show the cut because it differs from the person to person. Some life the Bodhisattva has been giving things. Even he was starving, still he was giving. So that is the determination he had in such lives. But in some lives, no, he didn't give much. He enjoyed the kingship, he controlled the country, and he lived a different life. So it's the person's decisions to determine whether I give or not. Not giving is not a fault. Keep that in mind always. Not giving is not a fault. Sometimes monks even don't give. Now Uppalavanna, our great Arahant, Theri, when she came to meet the Buddha, once Uday asked for her underrobe. He had a very strange desire. He wanted to take the robe while she's removed. He wanted to see her body. Then Uppalavanna said, Venerable Sir, Bhante, we are bhikkhunis, we are ladies, and we are getting very less requisites. That was the phenomenon. Ladies were not well afforded as nuns. It still happens in Sri Lanka, Myanmar. The nuns are not much afforded like monks. So therefore, she said, no, she's an Arahant. She said, I have less requisites. These are the only robes that I have. So I cannot give you. Somehow Uday managed to take it, and she also managed to cover her body with her psychic powers. That was a different story. So it shows that keeping things for your need, keeping things for your future, keeping things for your children, keeping some things for your enjoyment is not stinginess. It's not stinginess. So it's always okay to say, no, I cannot give. Buddhism is not such a doctrine that you have to give when someone asks. No, it's solely up to you. There's no fault in it. But if someone makes a determination, no, I will give whenever someone asks, that is his decision, like a bodhisattva. In some lives, bodhisattva gave everything and even cut grass and earned money, and still he gave. His main purpose was to give. And even he didn't have food, but still he was giving, whatever he was getting. So that was his vigorous practice, because he wanted to be a special person in future. So therefore, it's up to you to decide. Sometimes when we have the certain needs, if the mind is have learned certain stories, sometimes we may feel like, oh, I'm doing some fault by not giving certain things. I'm supposed to give dana. No, don't have that guilt in you. Whether you give or not, it's perfectly okay. If you give, it's a bonus thing. So be in that, right? If you are giving, so always monks encourage to give in order to give you that spiritual bonus, telling you to do something good. But breaking the precepts is a different. It's a basic. It's a fault. You are harming others. Breaking the precepts. You are not following the 5 precepts. It's a fault. Not giving is not a fault. But if you are not giving at all, then we can say it's a very bad thing, not very appreciative. So, therefore, it is something that we have to decide by ourselves, like normally with the common sense. And so, always keep it in mind, not giving is not a fault. I think that would makes you to see the thing in a better way.
Pandami Bhante, when doing kusala, if one makes aspiration to attain nibbana, but still has tanha, mana, and ditthi around the kusala, will the kusala become parami or not? What's the sure way to protect success in turning kusala into parami, especially for beginners like us? Anumodhami Bhante.
First of all, I have to say, seeing your questions, like I don't see you as a beginner. It's very good questions, and you have a lot of questions to ask. So, just because a kusala has some sort of tanha, mana or ditthi surrounding it, it's not going to make it a non-parami. It's not going to not to help. It is mentioned in the Charya Pitaka, Attakatha commentary, that a parami, in order to be a parami, it should not be affected by tanha, ditthi, mana. What does it mean? If someone is wishing to be a king with this merit in samsara, it's surely not going to attain nirvana, because you are wishing for a nama rupa process. Sankata wish. If someone is doing it out of mana, in order to show himself higher to others, the purpose is that, the main purpose, it's not going to be a parami. Someone has a wrong view that with this merit I'll be liberated in a specific world and be permanent. It's not a parami. Now parami is like we are doing it to attain nirvana. I think the question was like, now we are making this karma to to attain nibbana, but still we have some sort of craving and all this. Don't worry, still it's a parami. Still it's a parami. If it has been affected by strong defilements, it will weaken. That's a different case. It's a different case, but still it helps. Give the best example of Jyotiya's story. Jyotiya, who became an arahant in our Buddha Sasana, giving up a lot of wealth and becoming a monk. 7 Buddha Sasanas ago, before the Vipassana Buddha appeared, he and his brother were doing a sugar cane farm. So, I forgot who, Jyotiya was the younger, other was the senior. He has an elder brother. So the younger brother once went to the sugar cane. Both of them controlled the farm, took care of the farm. Farm means a plantation. So Jyotiya, the younger brother, went and collected some sugar canes, 2 sugar canes, one for him and one for his brother. And he offered, he met a Pacceka Buddha and offered it. Pacceka Buddha was going to take it to other Pacceka Buddhas. Then he said, no, don't take it. You just have it. I have another sugar cane, I'm going to offer you that. Then he drank the sugar cane, the juice, and then he took the other one, the brother's one, and shared it with the other Pacceka Buddhas, and it was visible. Pacceka Buddha made the brother to see it. So the younger brother thought, so he didn't ask the permission from his elder brother. He thought if elder brother wishes, if elder brother agrees, okay, let him get the punya. Otherwise, I'll pay his money. That was his decision. So he gave his sugar cane and the brother's sugar cane as well. Then he wished. He made a wish. With this merit, may I be throughout the samsara, may I enjoy very high pleasures, human and deva and divine realms in samsara, and finally attain whatever liberation that you have attained. So that was his wish. May I attain Nibbana after all the experiencing pleasures. So his kusala was affected by tanha, obviously, but he had a wish towards Nibbana. He didn't know what Nibbana is. He said, whatever liberation you have had, may I attain that. Because it's a Pacceka Buddha's era, no Dhamma was there. Then he went to his brother. Then he said the whole story and what he wished. And the brother was very happy. He said, okay, with this, I'm giving this, I don't need any money. With this merit, may I attain the liberation, what the Pacceka Buddha has attained. He didn't wish for any sensual pleasures. What happened was, both of them appeared during the Vipassana Buddha's era. So both of them are brothers again. Both of them listened to Dhamma. The elder brother had the urgency and he went forth, became a monk and became an arahant and entered the samsara. Jyotiya, the younger brother who wished for sensual pleasures and nibbana, could not give up the attachment towards his family and all this money, wealth and it. But he did a lot of merits in the sasana. Then he went during the samsara, he met Vipassi, Sikhi, Vesabhu, Kakusanda, Konagamana, Kassapa. 6 sasanas were passed. Still he could not attain Nibbana. Now Buddha Sasana, but he had accumulated a lot of merits in samsara. Now Buddha Sasana, he became a rich merchant called Jyotiya, who were the 5 great merchants in Rajagaha those days. So he then, later on, he got detached from his wealth and he became a monk and ended up being an arahant. So this is a story given by teachers to show that directly wishing for Nibbana and wishing for Nibbana after enjoying pleasures, it may delay your attainment, but it still supports your liberation. So don't think like, for example, think about the Yashodhara's wish. The Bodhisattva had a desire with great compassion to liberate others. Yasodhara her wish was always defiled. Most of the cases it was defiled by love towards the Bodhisattva, right? But it helped her to attain Nibbana with him in the same life. So others we may think, okay, Sariputta, he had a desire to we call it Kusala Chanda, and Lobha can also appear that time about his title. So we can say other sort of desires are mostly of Kusala, but Yasodhara was obvious it was Lobha. Lobha was very obvious in her desire. So therefore, it is not that if you are wishing for Nibbana, some sort of defilements affecting it is not going to reduce the quality of it is going to reduce the quality of the karma, but it is not going to make a non-parami. It's not that the karma would be infertile in terms of helping to attain Nibbana. So therefore, it's better if you can do it completely without any Lobha Ditti Mana aspiring for the Nibbana. But even there is, but if you are wishing for Nibbana, surely it's going to help you to attain Nibbana.
Madani Bante, about Ahetuka and Dvihetuka Pukala, they can't attain Jhana, Magga and Phala, but some say they can't even have Nimitta or the Bhavanga couldn't support for strong enough wisdom to rise to produce it. Some say that they can have Nimitta and even practice Vipassana although they can't attain Jhana, Magga or Phala. Which is the right one? Is there any Pali reference that we can read? Thank you, Bante.
Yeah, so and this is something not relevant directly to the topic, but anyway, so it is Dvihetuka and Ahetuka beings, their Bhavanga is quite weak, and that Bhavanga doesn't is not a because in order to see a certain object or to know a certain object, that object first has to strike at the Bhavanga. Bhavanga should be facilitating, should be able to connect with that object, so then only the other chittas will be able to focus on them. So to what I know, to my understanding, Bhavanga is very weak of Ahetuka and Dvihetuka being, so it is not sensitive to a very subtle object like Nimitta. If you have a Nimitta, there is no reason why you cannot attain jhana. There is no reason for that. A person who has committed heinous deeds, anantariya kamma, the ones who have a ahetuka birth, they all cannot get the nimitta. If you get the nimitta, means you are just going forward. There is no reason for you not to attain the jhana. If you can have vipassana, if you see the anicca, dukkha and anatta, there is no reason, unless you have not fulfilled paramis, for you to not to attain the Maggaphala. So Bhavanga is, because Nibbana, the object of Nibbana is not struck at the Bhavanga in the beginning. It is taken for the first time by the Gotra Bhuchitta and the Magga Chitta arises. So I also don't see a reason why if someone can practice Vipassana, why he cannot attain Nibbana because of the problem of a Bhavanga. So therefore, to my understanding, they cannot have Vipassana knowledge, they cannot have the Nimitta or Upachara Samadhi, because the weakness of the Bhavanga, would not be sensitive, especially to the Anatta Lakkana, the non-self quality, and also a Patibhaga Nimitta. I don't think it will be possible. I am unable to give you a direct Pali reference for that. So when you read the Pali, you feel like they cannot progress. They cannot progress. It's not that they attain the Upachara Samadhi and not attaining jhana, or attain Vipassana and not attaining Maggaphala. No, they cannot they cannot reach to these levels. Yeah, I also need to conclude because I think we have done more than 1 hour Q&A session even. Okay. So it was nice giving the talk and good questions were asked. So may all of you, by listening to this Dhamma, asking questions, clarifying Dhamma, may all of us be able to attain the aspired Nibbana with the bodhi that we wish. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idamme punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva anumodantu, sabbe bhuta anumodantu, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Idang menya idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Mama punya bhagang sabba satta nang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.